going to be feedback? All right, I'm testing it live now because I'm live now. Go take a listen and tell me what's happening. What up, though, sexy people? We're trying to fix this problem. We are trying to figure it out and fix this here issue, everybody. What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Having a few technical difficulties, but we gonna get through them. We always get through them. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome, Instagram. Welcome, Facebook. We're good? Okay. My husband said we're good. Woo, child, honey, bunches of oats. I need a sip of this protein shake, baby. Because boy, oh boy, it's one of them days. Just one of them days. Hey, Detroit. What's up, guys? Instagram. I didn't know if it was something that I was doing over on that side. So I ended up putting you guys on my phone. Hello to everybody watching on WIRF.TV YouTube channel. Let's try this thing all over again, honey. Applause, applause, applause. Oh, it's muted. Sorry about that. Yeah, you know, your girl is tired. I told y'all that I have a lot going on right now in this world of mine. We are in the middle of home repairs, and I do not have to tell you, home repairs are like, especially, you know, we've been in our house for 10 years. So, you know, it's a lot. But anyway, we've been doing it since the summer. But cheers. There we go. Yay. Applause. Applause to everybody who became a new subscriber to WIRF.TV YouTube. Hello to everyone watching me on my Insta. Thank you guys for bopping in. This is another episode of Nights with Nicci. We got a lot of really cool things to talk about. We're going to talk about BET head Scott Mills saying that they are no longer doing the Soul Train Awards. Hello. And they are also no longer doing the BET Hip Hop Awards. Now, I don't know what this means for the brand. I don't know if this is, I don't know. But I know that the music industry is on fire, yeah. So, I'm not mad. And if it's a business decision, you know, you got to respect the game. How about that? We're also going to have a conversation. You guys, do you know that in some states, I don't know that it's in all states yet, but in some states, they have decided that they are going to tell you whether or not, what you can buy with your SNAP benefits. Baby, these people are not playing with y'all. They are going to force you into a healthier lifestyle, whether you like it or not. And also, Detroit mayoral candidate Mary Sheffield has advanced. So we are also going to boop, 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 boop. Talk about that too. I'm really proud of my city. I'm really excited about the fact that there may be, for the first time in the history of this city, a Black female mayor. So I'm here for that, you guys. Thank you again for bopping in Nice with Nicci. Thank you guys for watching and liking and sharing and moving things right on along on our WIRF.TV YouTube channel. If you're watching me on Instagram, you already know. You already know. You can saunter on over to the WIRF.TV YouTube channel and hang out with your girl over there. So anyway, you guys, like I was started to say earlier, I almost did not do the broadcast tonight because, again, I'm exhausted. So you guys got me moisturized with a little bit of lip gloss. I can't do nothing else, honey. There's no beat going on here. Thank God for Instagram and filters, but YouTube, you get it how I live it. How about that? Okay, so let's just get into the first story of the day. And if you're watching me on Instagram right now, I have a picture, and the photograph reads that the U.S. bans the purchase of soda, candy, and other junk food items using the using the SNAP food stamp benefits. Okay, I'm going to read the article from the Jasmine brand. This is kind of crazy, and it's probably going to piss a lot of kids off. Them kids going to be out in these streets mad about this new rule. But 12 states will soon ban the use of SNAP benefits for junk food purposes like soda, candy, and sugary snacks after receiving approval from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The new rules, effective in 2026, are a part of Trump administration's Make America Healthy Again. Ooh, child. Make America Healthy Again initiative, according to Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The goal is to combat obesity and chronic illness in low-income areas by limiting access to unhealthy foods through government programs. Nebraska was the first state granted a waiver. Now 11 more: Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Utah, Florida, West Virginia, Colorado, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas are preparing to implement similar restrictions. Some will begin as early as January 1, 2026, while others plan a mid-year rollout. Under the policy, SNAP recipients in these states will be blocked from using EBT cards to buy soda, chips, candy, and desserts. Officials say the change is intended to bring SNAP purchases in line with federal dietary guidelines and to promote healthier eating among the benefit recipients. Ooh-wee. Please hit like if y'all coming in watching us from the YouTube channel. Oh my God, what do you guys think about this? Oh my goodness. Wow. Hey, Conyers. Hey. Thank you guys for bopping in. Make sure you check me out on WIRF.tv. And when you come in, please make sure you hit the like button. Maybe people will get jobs if they want those items. Wow. Okay. Let me see what my people saying in the chat over here. Do you guys think that that's okay? Hey, J Rock, it's good to hear from you. Y'all, please make sure here. Let me make sure I put this reminder. I just need y'all to do me the kind favor of hitting that like, share, and subscribe button when you come in and watch us on WIRF.tv YouTube channel. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the government is well within its rights to determine that if you are being given SNAP benefits that you cannot buy sweets and candy for yourself or for your kids? Okay, well, the first thing I want to say to everybody who is receiving SNAP benefits: girl, go get your candy before the January 1st. Girl, run, Forrest, run, go get your candy before January 1st. Stock up on all the sweet treats that your heart desires, especially the holidays is coming too. Oh my God, you can't even get dessert. No, okay, that's not nothing to joke about. I'm dead ass serious when I say, if you want donuts and cookies and candy and sweets, you better get them before January 1, because the SNAP program is definitely about to cut all of that out. And, here's the thing. I got mixed emotions about it. So what about the companies? That's a good question. So what about the companies that will benefit from people, buying those sweets and things like that? Maybe they'll, I don't know. I have no idea. So here's my quick and dirty response, since none of y'all have anything to say about the SNAP benefits thing. It's interesting because, me and my husband, here you go, like, bringing me into her live. Yes, I'm talking about you, Mr. Daniels. Listen, baby, my husband loves him a sweet treat, okay, outside of his sweet wife. But for people who love sweets, there's a term, I believe it's called hypoglycemic or something like that. People who depend on sweets for their mood, man, and for the children. I mean, the kids should always be able to get sweets and snacks. And if you're not taking those things out of, I guess if you're getting government assistance, I guess they figure they can control that part of it. But I want to believe in my heart of hearts, and maybe call me naive, I want to believe that this whole regulation of what you can purchase with the SNAP card, I hope that also includes them making healthier food options available, delicious, healthier food options available as well. Because, some of the stuff that folks are eating these days, myself included, are worse than the sugary snacks and desserts and stuff. Okay, I see. I feel like we got a comment here. The cruel and hypocritical, irony of this is that all unhealthy snacks. Okay. I need glasses because this is a lot. Okay. The cruel and hypocritical irony of this is that all the unhealthy snacks ate what's the cheapest and most affordable, and the healthy food will be raised a ridiculous amount. Boom. Okay. That is an excellent, excellent point. Grocery prices are sky high. So sometimes, those little 2 pack of cookies you get 50 cents a pack, $1.50 a pack. They're probably not 50 cents a pack no more. But you know what I'm talking about, that long, extra long pack of cookies that's chocolate on one side and vanilla on the other side. That could feed a family and satisfy some cravings, and it's inexpensive. And I know that the goal is to get people to eat healthier, but, you know, it's getting kind of tough out here. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, the core junkie, it is hypocritical because food prices are becoming sky high. Man, I went in Sam's Club the other day and I was just like, what are we really, is this really happening right now? So yeah, that's something to seriously think about. And the disparity is crazy. So very serious. Hello, Denoris. It's good to see you. Absolutely, absolutely. What's up, Instagram? The company will exchange Snap for money. I don't know what's going on. You guys, there's so much crazy stuff going on out here. I haven't been keeping track of all the political stuff because it's all just so much. I just saw recently somewhere that there was a whole thing going on. Matter of fact, I'm not even. Okay, I have to say this. Does anybody have any of the details? We'll talk about it a little later, and I might look it up while we're live. But does anybody have any details? I heard that I'll Be Sure just posted something else. And there's something going on over there too. And every time we look up an artist, 9 times out of 10, it's a Gen X artist, someone from, back in the day who is fighting a major corporation, a major machine. It seems like it's becoming more and more prevalent, and, hey, it's a lot. But anywho, I hope that this new SNAP rule does not negatively impact too many families because, it's bad enough that we have them in everything else, and now determining what you can purchase and what your family can eat. I get it. It's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's like you want people to be healthy, and we're not making the healthiest choices. Like I started by saying, without putting too much of my family's business in the street, my family doesn't even make the healthiest food choices, right? So if you are forced to make healthier food choices because this is something that is being provided to you free, the verdict is still out on how I feel about that. Because real talk, y'all, we ain't doing right. Myself included. That's why I'm drinking a protein shake right now instead of that glass of wine I was about to pour to do this show. But we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing out here in these streets when it comes to health and wellness and what we put in our bodies. I'm just saying. Okie dokie. And in the comments, by the way, it's a BS move, controlling those in poverty, disabled seniors, people who pay. Okay, yep. This will affect the majority of his. Okay, yeah. It's a lot. It's a whole lot of decisions that are going on out here, and I'm not in agreement with many of them. So I just fight the battles that I have in front of me, and God knows that the battles that I have in front of me are great battles. Okay, what are we talking about next? BET, you guys. Let's get into this BET thing. I really want to get good with y'all with this, baby. Did you hear what's happening over at the BET? How they say the BETs? I don't know why my family always be like, you going to the BETs? I'm like, what are the BETs? The BET Awards? All right, so there was a Billboard Pro article where Scott Mills, who's the CEO of BET, reflected on BET's 45-year history, and he said it will always be a leading Black platform. And in the article, oh my gosh, I had the whole damn story, and now the freaking article has gone away. Damn it, these paywalls get on my nerves. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I had this thing all pulled up for you guys, and it just disappeared. So it's just taking a minute for me to pull it back up. Okay. Everything is a paywall. I mean, everything is a paywall. Okie dokie. So BET has made a major move that's catching a lot of people off guard. The network has officially suspended both the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards indefinitely. Yes, that means two of the most culturally significant nights of black music have no set date to return, and there's no word on whether or not they will ever return. This isn't just about two award shows. The BET Hip Hop Awards has been the go-to celebration of rap, hip hop culture since 2006, known for its ciphers, bold performances, and moments that made headlines. Likewise, the Soul Train Awards have been honoring R&B and soul since 1987, highlighting legends while giving shine to emerging talent. BET CEO Scott Mills confirmed for BET Linear, we will be suspending the Soul Train Awards and Hip Hop Award shows, but we have a team that's actively thinking about where those award shows might best live in media climate as it continues to evolve. See, that's why you got to read the story and not just the headlines, right? So there are a couple of lessons that we can learn in this here announcement that was just made about BET. The number one lesson is that they didn't say they were just getting rid of them. He said they will no longer live in their linear programming. However, they're looking at what the potential other avenues could be. YouTube, streaming. Listen, Linda. I'm telling you, I had this conversation with somebody today. I did. I had this conversation with somebody I love and respect dearly. And the topic of the conversation were, where do these things live? We were talking about this idea, this concept for television, and the question about where this would live if we were able to do this. And baby, if we able to pull this thing that we've been talking about off, it's going to be a whole lot of happy campers out here. But we were talking about where it could live. So back to Scott Mills's point about the Soul Train Awards and the Hip Hop Awards. If it's not making financial sense to produce these big award shows for linear television, and for those of you who don't know what linear means, it's kind of an industry term, but it's basically the box, meaning the BET network that you subscribe to cable to watch, right? And you see it on cable and you watch it linear. Because streaming has become such a huge, it's just, nobody's watching appointment television anymore. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, well, TV is always going to be TV. Just like people thought albums was going to always be albums and CDs were going to always be CDs. As the world changes, we have to adapt and adjust, and we also have to change. So thing number one about this BET Hip Hop Awards and Soul Train Awards announcement, all the headlines, they're taking the Soul Train Awards away. How dare ya? Taking hip hop away. Hip hop was too big. I even had something to say in the comments. Well, music ain't shit these days, so I ain't surprised. But when you read the whole article, and then the words of my dear friend Christine Beatty, who says, stop reading the headlines and coming up with a conclusion when you have not read the story. You are basing your opinion on the headline. The story is they're trying to figure out where these assets, because they are assets. I mean, for God's sakes, it's the Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards, two major genres of music that are going to be around forever. It's just the way people receive them and the way people enjoy them is very different. So, and it was a shock for people because the BET Hip Hop Awards, I want to say the BET Hip Hop Awards this year brought in some really good numbers, which is why people were like, what the hell? What the helly? But the man didn't say they was throwing them in the trash. What the man had said was that they're trying to figure out where they will have these things air. So I do think that hip hop is in a place, as is R&B. Let me look and see what some of y'all comments are. No. Okay, that's about the food. It has reasons. It has reasons for health, but you can still buy ingredients to bake sweets. That's smart. Yep, you sure can, and it'll probably be healthier. That was a great point. Somebody said you could still make homemade sweets and buy the ingredients to make sweets, and that's probably a lot healthier because the shit that they be putting in this candy and all this stuff. I was talking about now laters the other day, y'all, with my greedy ass eating some non-laters at 55 years old. Right, I don't need to eat them anymore, and great example. You can't buy them, bitch. It's not a bad thing. They're trying to affect, okay, the corporations that are, yeah, because they, exactly. Because if you really think about it, guys, and I know I'm switching from the BET conversation because I'm answering some of these questions a little delayed. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to start pausing and looking at your questions. But that is an excellent point. When you start looking at all of these hot chips and, all of this stuff that's red dye number 73 and all of this stuff that is really no good for us, you kind of have to be forced to not do those things, right? It kind of has to be one of those like, okay, well, if we foot in the bill for this, we're not going to foot the bill for you to put toxic, terrible shit into your body, because then ultimately that, it has a trickle down effect, right? Because the healthcare system then becomes a part. You got a lot of people running around with high blood pressure and all kinds of obesity and all that stuff. So, there is a benefit to forcing people to eat healthier. I mean, the largest population of centurions is in Japan, and they eat fish and rice and seaweed and stuff. Um, let's say, do you think that they will slide over to platforms? Do you have to pay? Yep, probably so. I believe they need new producers, new creatives. We're back into the BET conversation. I agree. Streaming partner, absolutely. We need more Black streaming companies. Yes, we do need more Black streaming companies like WIRF.TV. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I got something to talk to you guys about. Super important. But yes, we absolutely need more Black streaming companies. And what we really need to see more of, which is something that I've been tooting my horn about for like 7,000 years, is us coming together in unity. And it's just the hardest nut to crack with us. Everybody want to be the one. And if you put all them ones together, we could really actually be so productive and so successful. But everybody wants to be the one. Everybody wants it to be their turn. Everybody want to be the one to do it, the one up front, the one everybody's talking about. And I was going down my timeline, and I was just kind of like, wow. I'm like, the genius of us. You know what I mean? What we're able to do when we put our creative minds to work, and the things we're able to come up with and how we make things so dope. Thank you, Instagram. I see y'all over there. And thank you, WIRF.TV, YouTube. But the things that we're able to do, when we lean into our creativity and our magic, right? But we just cannot seem to understand the power of the unity of us coming together and doing that together as a collective. And I don't understand for the life of me why that is so difficult for us. I can't put my finger on it. I think it's more than jealousy. I think it's more than envy. I think it's fear. I think it is rooted in fear. Fear that if I fall back and promote someone else's success, or promote someone else's idea or concept, or fully lean into something that is just not about me, but is really good, and so many people need to see it, and if this works, then it could work for all of us. And I say that because we talk so much about Sinners and Ryan Coogler and how successful Ryan Coogler was with the Sinners film, right? Same as with Wakanda, Black Panther. When we go in droves to support great content and great ideas and our incredible creators out here, we create more opportunities for the collective, right? They don't just, they say Ryan Coogler did really well. Ryan Coogler really had an amazing film. You got to see it. But they also say Black films work, right? Black stories will sell lots and lots of tickets in theaters and streaming, right? So this concept of, especially it's really, really prevalent in, like, I hate to say it, but women. I'm sorry, ladies. I love us. I don't even think I have to prove it no more. I love BIPOC bitches. I mean that affectionately, you guys. Ladies, women, girls. I love us. I support us in every way. But we got to call it like we see it, and we got to call it like it is. We are so consumed. And by we, I don't mean every single solitary one of us. I don't mean every Black woman or BIPOC woman on the planet. I mean a great majority of us have a real serious, maybe it's not real serious, but have an obvious issue leaning into unity and sisterhood. And yeah, we'll go to the thing. We'll show up to the event. We'll go, girl, go. Enough of us will do it so that it gives this illusion of support. But the real support with us comes from us leaning into each other during those real times, during those times when it's not, Oprah always says everybody's going to ride in a limousine with you, but what you want are the people who are going to walk with you when the limo breaks down. And I think that now, as we're seeing, and I didn't want to get into this today because I was tired and I didn't want to get into too heavy a topic, but we're seeing everywhere where they're talking about how Black women and unemployment is huge, right? It's maybe not huge, but it's getting to the point where it's about to be a real issue. And it's interesting because I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about, like, Black women in corporate America. And, I know that I'm in the entertainment industry, and it seems like I'm always doing things that are related to entertainment, but in this entertainment industry is corporate America. I'm not taking on an entertainment company in Lionsgate. I'm taking on a corporate giant that happens to make a lot of money in the entertainment industry. But there are a ton of other industries. This is a publicly traded company. So there are a ton of other. So when you start talking about corporate America and you start talking about Black women and you start talking about the DEI thing, which I said, and it pissed some people off. I said a long time ago when this whole DEI thing popped up that diversity, equity, inclusion is putting a Band-Aid on a shot, because the problem is not that we're not getting hired enough, because we are the gifted ones that are able to take your company to the next level with our intelligence, grace, and badassery, right? We're going to always get the shit done. That's just what we're doing. We're just built like that. But there is this idea, and I know when the wave started, and I knew, like I said, I know a lot of women in corporate America. I probably know and have relationships with more women in corporate America than I do in the entertainment industry. In fact, I know that I do. And I'm here to tell you, I would always be like, and a few of them are like, listen, if I don't bring you with me and I don't provide this opportunity and I don't whoop-de-whoop and whop-de-whop, and shout out to those sisters that did, you know who you are. I'm not putting you out there, right? Because some of y'all might still be at your jobs. But not leaning into really empowering and lifting and pulling up your sisters in your community because you don't want to be seen as that person. And we know what that's all about. A lot of times, once you get in that space, we going to little code switching, a little switch up. And a lot of times you have to, because again, corporate America is a whole different thing. But then when we get to this place where we start to realize the DEI opportunities and that checkbook that you had and that opportunity that you had to really elevate someone who would not have to rely so much on the corporation that you were working for at the time, but could build outside of that and build something sustainable within the community that you ultimately have to go back to. You feel me? Like, did you sow seeds in the community that we so often work to get out of and to be considered a success story from, and often forget about? And then when you lose your gig and we got to go back to those communities, it's like, well, damn, bitch, you had the bag. Why didn't you throw down the seed so I could plant something so we could eat? And I've been talking in code a little bit in this time, but some of y'all get what I'm kicking. Let me stop talking and get to some of these questions. People need temperance when consuming food, snacks, drinks. Wisdom is the key. Exactly. Hey, Lamar. I see you, Lamar. Okay, let's see what's going on over here on IG. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about some really cool, let's see, crabs in a barrel. Yeah, it's been a crabs in a barrel mentality for a long time. Y'all listen, it ain't no reason listen, talk about the conversations. I did literally have like 4 really dope ass conversations today. And one of those conversations was about R&B divas, right? And somebody said crabs in a barrel. So look, holla at your girl. If you feel froggish, leap on into it. That is a classic example. R&B divas is a classic example of exactly what the entire freak I'm talking about. We get so geeked up about impressing the PTBs. For those of you who are new here, that is powers that be, right? We get so caught up in impressing them and wanting to be seen as an elevated, member of our community because we're one of the few here in this glass house, right? That we betray our own for validation from people who really don't give a fuck. And too often we find out the hard way, long, hard way, that they don't. And it isn't something that just happens on shows like R&B Divas. I mean, it did. Everybody got overpromised and underdelivered on a bunch of shit. I talked to Monifa about it. I ain't talking behind nobody's back. I said it to her face. I believe that you thought that you were going to get a spinoff about your lifestyle with Therese and a marriage spinoff and all these other things. And those people told you to stay away from me. And you did that. And it did not materialize. And now we're here. Where we're all trying to figure this shit out. When I was like, throw me some seeds down so I could plant a garden so we could eat after these motherfuckers put you out that house. Because at the end of the day, that is the story. That is how it goes all the time. We pick and choose a few of us to elevate. And typically the people, I'm sorry, let me take this down because I'm done with the BET conversation. We pick and choose the few of us who are able to, be given the opportunity, be given, the extra check, be given the lead role in the movie, be given the 400, 500,000 Instagram followers to start with. And now you got 35 million, but you can't do shit with them. How are you like a big, huge, major influencer, rapper, celebrity star with 30 million Instagram followers and not able to turn those followers into viable, tangible, real, ain't nobody selling you. People got 30 million Instagram followers and ain't selling 2 or 3 million records. Back in the day, we did not have Instagram and we sold 3 or 4 million records. Easy breezy. Now it doesn't happen because corporations have figured out a way to make everyone want to aspire to be that one that they put up on that pedestal, with people not realizing that pedestal is all about borrowed time, borrowed opportunity, borrowed fame. I say it all the time. Fame is a vapor. Money has wings. Right? That's it. The only thing that lasts is character. And character is the thing that lets you lean into unity. Character is the thing that inspires you and motivates you to build within your community. Community, unity, UNITY. That's it. That's it. That's always been the solution. It's always going to be the solution. There is no other solution Listen, Instagram. Listen, WIRF.TV, YouTube. Listen, Facebook and LinkedIn. There is no other solution in our community except unity. Unity in our community. That is it. We have to rely on each other. We have to get back to working as a community in harmony, in unity, in unison, lifting each other like we do with a Ryan Coogler, like we do with because we look around and we see the Tyler Perrys becoming the Tyler Perrys. White people are not making Tyler Perry who Tyler Perry is. They may be providing a platform for him. They may be opening up a couple other doors here and there. Please hit like as you guys are coming in on WIRF.TV YouTube channel. They may be opening up a few extra doors for him, but the people who make Tyler Perry who he is, the people who make most of the people I think Oprah may be the one exception whose career might have been built kind of like on people from everywhere. White women were, really big supporters of the Oprah Winfrey Show and watchers of the Oprah Winfrey Show. I do know that, or I don't know that. I've heard that. But when you look at Tyler Perry, when you look at Wakanda, when you think about all these, amazing films and projects that gross all of this, all these TV shows, look at the Housewives. Let's unpack the Housewives of Atlanta. The Real Housewives of Atlanta is the holy grail of reality TV shows. Everybody want to be a housewife except your girl. I like being married. That was not shade. Well, it was kind of shady as fuck, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But let's take the Housewives. The Housewives franchise, it was built on the original cast. We fell in love and got hooked with Nene, Sheree, Kim, who was a LaShawn, Lisa Wu, and it just continued. But every season after season, it got better and better, and the ratings grew because of women of color coming together and showing the world what sauce we have. And it's crazy because now when you look back at all the growth that franchise was able to have, with such talented, captivating, compelling women. Most of those women are no longer on the show, and the show is still thriving because they've now convinced other groups of women to come in and just there is an unlimited supply, in my guesstimation, there is an unlimited supply of women who believe that the Housewives of Atlanta is worth compromising everything for that fame and popularity for. And it's crazy because at some point, those women are the women who are no longer a part of the show and have aged out of it. It's kind of crazy because it feels to me like they brought in this sort of like let's tinker on a little bit of Love and Hip Hop and a little bit of Bad Girls Club, but let's keep it under the kind of polished Housewives brand and just make them rich, but let's still make it a little, you know what I'm saying? And whether or not that's going to work for their fan base, I don't know. But back to this conversation that Scott Mills had about BET. When your audience is watching the devices and everything is on streaming and it's all about YouTube. Matter of fact, shout out to YouTube. You guys, please make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Thank y'all so much. I got a big thing I want to share about YouTube and our growth, and yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so appreciative of y'all. And Instagram, if you watching me on IG, y'all better go onto that Instagram, that YouTube page and hit like and subscribe on your way up in there. Because I'm falling in love with YouTube and TikTok, actually. I might be cheating on y'all ass over here on Instagram because I don't know what the hell is going on. But I digress. But when you look at these franchises, Married to Medicine, which, by the way, was built on Mariah Huck's back. Hello, she created the series. But we'll have that conversation, and you'll hear it from her mouth. But I ain't trying to be messy. I know my dog thinks somebody's knocking at the door. I'm not trying to be messy, but Black women have always been and will always be the sauce. The issue is, like I started saying 35 minutes ago in my long-winded ass dissertation, we cannot figure out how to come together and unify and run that shit because everybody want to be the one. Like I'm building this WIRF.TV platform. And again, this is not me trying to be an influencer. I'm not trying to be an influencer. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here trying to sing on my page and get everyone, even though you guys get a little rehearsal every now and then because that's what I do for a living. I want to be the founder and not the sole proprietor because I'm not. The founder of a platform that allows all sorts of really dope stories from everywhere to be told. And for us to come to one place where we're able to see really compelling stories told our way from our voices. It's not diluted by a culturally incompetent white male or any other color or any other gender lens other than us. Because people are always telling our stories, and they're telling our stories and editing them and chopping them and screwing them and manipulating them and giving somebody information so that they can say shit that will alter the perception of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just some bullshit. And everybody has said it. I started saying it very early on. I started saying it around 2012. And people were like, yeah, she a hater. Oh, you're never gonna work in this town again. Well, bitch, neither are you. And you were on the show acquiescing to the bullshit for 500,000 years. And you're still never gonna work in this town again. The Ankler did an article about Gen Xers from like shows like Friends and shit that are like, we built Hollywood and we don't have anything to show for it because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you do everything these motherfuckers tell you to do. The name of the game are the numbers and the ratings. And no matter how much they like you and think that you're a cool person and you're easy to get along with, when it's time to move in some young, fresh, ratchet shit, they're going to do that. And the only way that you can prevent that from happening in your life and in your career and really build something sustainable is to have ownership of your shit. And we too busy to trying to look like we winning to actually roll up our sleeves and do the work of building something sustainable where you not just you're winning, but for generations to come, your family will be able to license your content, will be able to, it's interesting. I took my husband and I took the grand to see Superman. And he was breaking it down to us on the way, like, Superman was made in 1932 or some shit, I don't remember, whatever. But was just giving us the breakdown of Superman. And, when he asked me, like, he's a really smart kid, super, super smart kid. But when he asked me about, Nana, what do you really want from the people that you're fighting this case or from the Supreme Court? Like, what would this mean? I broke it down to him when he was telling us about Superman. He was like, I said, the man who created Superman in 1930 or whenever he created it? He's like, yeah. He was like, and it's been around he's doing the math and figuring out how long Superman has been around. I said, imagine what we created today, what Nana has created today, being around for as long as Superman has been around. And you and your kids and your kids' kids being able to benefit from what Nana created, from her ideas, from her concept. He's like, He's like, is that why you, and I think we have to really start having real adult conversations with our kids about, especially when you're in this entertainment industry, because what we've seen a lot of is that we're just learning the value of ownership as artists and creatives, right? We're just learning the power of IP. Passing that knowledge down to our children, it wasn't something that was really attainable. Well, it was always attainable because they always had the shit, but it wasn't something that we thought was really realistic. There was this old saying, well, everybody got a bad contract, or you ain't never gonna get da 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 da. And now you got Salt and Pepper like taking the industry to task about their shit, and you got Nikki Gilbert Daniels taking the industry to task about hers, and that is because we now understand the value of generational wealth and wellness that is created by these amazing things that we're able to create. So when you're just geeked up to be on a reality show because it's going to make you the flavor of the month or the flavor of a few seasons, or this is your season because you're the number one shade queen of this season, it doesn't mean shit. What matters is what you build and what you're able to create that you have ownership in while you're in that on that show. And everybody's looking for the Kardashian story. Everybody's looking, what was it, Dash Boutique that they had, and then that evolved into this, and then that, all of a sudden they like the number one it girls all over the world doing everything. And it's because they were allowed to build their brands. They're not black, so they're a lot more mainstream than most black people are. But my point is just, if you're not building something that you have ownership of on one of these shows, then you're wasting, well, I guess you're not wasting your time if you want to just make a bunch of money. But if you want to come out of it with your family intact and your morals intact and your mental health intact, you have to ask yourself if it's worth it. And I'd like to see all of these people who were once on these amazing shows recognize the value of their fan base today and how important it is for them to move them into their own shit and stop being so focused on trying to acquiesce to the bullshit to be back on the Housewives or back on this show or back on that show. And I see it happening. Like, a lot of people have their YouTube channels. Listen, your girl not playing over here at WIRF TV. We over here for real, for real. I see it happening all the time, but I just really want to encourage us as women in particular, black women in particular, that catty shit is tired. So everybody has an attitude with everybody. Okay, so we get it. She mad at her, I'm mad at her, she mad at me, she mad at them, they mad at they, and they mad at everybody. We get it. But how do you let that go, come together, and build something sustainable for generations to come? And that is about not being as concerned about being all up in the videos dancing in my Suge Knight voice, and being more concerned about laying the groundwork, planting the seeds, taking the seed scraps that the people up high dropping down low, and burying those seeds and allowing them to grow into something amazing. Okay, people need money. Some people don't have the finances to wait for the opportunity of ownership. I got it, pal. MLK was able to do. Okay, let me explain this. Mariah Huq did what Nene Leakes should have done. She got her producer credit. The network still compensated Mariah, and she's not even on the show. Hasn't been for a long time. Yes, and I'm excited to talk more about Mariah's thing. But here's the thing. Let's get to this. People need money, and people can't just say no to a check. Yes, the fuck you can. I'm sorry. This is Nice with Nicci, and it's after a certain time. So, forgive me for my language. I'm grown as hell. But yes, you can. Because at the end of the day, this is what I was trying to get R&B divas to understand. And unfortunately, nobody understood it. And ultimately, the whole shit went away. What I was trying to get them to understand before it went completely off the rails was, if this show is not attractive to other people who are bigger names, who have larger followings, who could bring more eyeballs to the show, because they're looking at it like, oh shit, I don't want my business out in the street like that. Oh, I don't want my friendship to go down the tubes the way theirs did. If people are looking at this show and thinking, I would never do that, we're screwing up the brand. No matter how many temporary eyeballs or temporary SpongeBob Black Gum moments that you have, we're screwing up the brand. We're screwing up our opportunity to be 15, 20 seasons in because of the bullshit, because of us wanting to be the Reed Queens and the Shade Queens and take those little $2 or $3, because you don't get paid that much money on reality TV. I mean, maybe somewhere somebody is making a whole lot of money, and the housewives are probably the top of the food chain. And I'm saying, if you still have to keep working, think about the sense that it makes for a network or a company that needs you on their network to be a part of their show season after season, to give you enough money to walk away and be like, I don't need this shit. They're never going to do that. It's always going to be. And the other thing they're not going to do is they're not going to keep on increasing your salary season after season after season. They're going to give you a nice salary. You're gonna work for it in season 1. You're gonna get to the bag in season 2. You might get to a bigger bag by season 3. Season 4 is gonna be the most money that you're probably ever gonna make in the franchise. You're gonna probably be stagnant right there, and then they're gonna start and I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. I don't know this for sure. I haven't really talked to anybody who's been a part of the cast. But then they're going to start figuring out how to squeeze the butt. Listen, you're not getting that platform without major sacrifices. And yeah, while you might end up getting to the top salary, what you will have to compromise and sacrifice for that, you could just build it yourself. If you just left some money on the table and shifted your focus into building and create, because guess what's happening now? What's happening now is everybody who was on linear television, going back to my conversation about BET, is now trying to figure out how to be right here on YouTube, how to be right here on these social media apps, the TikToks and the social. Now you got so many actors and actresses and performers that are trying to be influencers and sell beauty products and all that other stuff, because there is no equitable benefit to them staying in the entertainment industry doing movie after movie that people are not watching. People are not watching TV. They're not going to the movies. Everybody and their fucking mama got a podcast. Everyone has a podcast. Everywhere you look, it's. So tell me about such and such. And that's cool because we like to talk. I got one too. But there are other ways for us to come together and build viable entertainment brands if we could just figure out how to put all of the division. And division is an ingredient for success for these networks that have Black women on these shows ending their friendships and ending their marriages and ending their businesses and shit. Everybody wants to see the train wreck, but the person who's involved in the train wreck, and for years, many people have talked about the damaging lifelong effects of reality TV, when all they had to do was look to the left and to the right and be like, how can we build our own shit? How can we create our own? You know, I say it all the time. R&B Divas doesn't need a network. R&B Divas does not need a network, and we don't need a bunch of producers manipulating shit. All we need to do is go back to what it was in the beginning when I called everybody and said, hey, listen, I got this idea. Those clips that you guys have been able to see bits and pieces of, where you'll see more as we get to into the fall. But you'll see what this was in the very beginning, and it was just as compelling. And anybody can edit and make things look a certain way. All reality TV shows look, and it's the same B-roll footage at the opening of every show. Text effects and motion graphics. But the story, those compelling story moments, like that Latavia interview. The interview was like 400,000 views on that interview between platforms in a matter of days, because in that little bit of time, there's a compelling enough dialogue happening between us that people are interested in what's being said, and people want more. And folks enjoy things that stick to your ribs and speak to your heart. And what's real speaks to the heart. Let's see what y'all talking about. When you say coming together, do you mean writers, producers, investors? Yes, I mean everybody. I mean, cut out the middleman. I mean, who the fuck is the middleman anymore, right? Investors and brands that want to market and promote their brands should be talking directly to talent. Talent should be talking directly to crew members and produce. Come on, y'all. Let me stop, because that's a part of the master's class, honey. I agree with you. Thank you. I think when it comes to women collaborating, too many want to be Beyonce of the group with their name. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Like we have to be emotionally intelligent about how we build something together. And emotional intelligence means, who is the person in our community? For example, let me give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. Regina King announced, I don't know if it was, I saw it today. I don't know if she just announced it today, but I saw today that Regina King announced that she has this wine. I love the name. It is Me and You. And it is her son, Ian, who unfortunately transitioned a few years ago. He introduced her to this orange wine. We're going to talk about it on one of the shows because I ordered a bottle. But let me tell you what I'm talking about. So Regina King is a classic example of who would be at the top of my list of people to say, let's all collectively rally around what Regina King is doing as an artist, as a businesswoman, whatever it is that she's doing. Let's take all of our resources and energy and time for the month of September, and let's just grind it out and let the world know who Regina King is and what she's doing and what films she's working in and what projects she has going on, right? And if we shifted all of that power, all of that economic buying power, all of that ability to bring the attention and shift the attention to one place or the other, monthly, you got 12 months out of the year. If you pick 12 women, 12 movers and shakers, 12 folks that are hustling their asses off to make shit happen, and we collectively decided this is the month we're going to go hard for this person's movie. This is the month we're going to go hard for this person's project. Instead, you got all these people clamoring for the attention. Everybody wants to be. And you know what? The closest example of that kind of unity that we have as it relates to Black women is Beyonce, right? Because the marketing that Beyonce gets just based on the Cowboy Carter and Renaissance of it all, deserving. Okay, I don't know anybody who deserves it more than B at this point, right? But the marketing and the sisterhood and and not just sisterhood, like our entire community coming together and saying, this is the person we're getting behind. And we did it, we did it with Kamala. We did. I mean, we were disappointed because unfortunately, things happened. We're not going to revisit that trauma, but the way we were able to rally behind, that's just my point. So if we think about it from the perspective of the entertainment and music industry, if we got, 4 Black female artists that we know have incredible projects coming out this month, instead of everybody pulling and taking attention in this direction or that direction, where is the unity that says, ladies, we got Queen Latifah, SWV, Mickey Howard, or somebody else releasing content. Let's run this thing right until the wheels fall off and collectively bring the attention and the awareness to whoever and getting to, that is the thing. Determining what you promote and what we promote is a whole think tank. How do you make that determination? How do you build that calendar? But my point is just, we make everything hot. We're the sauce. We are able to support one another. We just don't do it because instead of us saying, listen, I'm gonna sit this one out. I know I don't get to promote my shit or ride off of the coattails of another creative for another 4 months. So I'm just, for the next 4 months gonna be going hard for whoever's in. It's like really simple, stupid. But because everybody wants all the attention all the time, and we get so caught up in the likes and the this and that and the third that really don't translate into shit. At the end of the day, we're learning that if we don't have ownership, if we don't have our own hub for our own things, then we can end up in Target. Went over some people's heads. With reality television, I think that they may use it as a marketing tool to build their brand and business. Cardi B jumped in and jumped right out. Cardi B is a classic example. And most people who do that absolutely do have that kind of success. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to can run. What we saying on Instagram? Hi, Nicci. An old R&B Divas LA clip came up in my algorithm with Shantae Moore and Leela James and Stacey Francis, and it was cringe as hell the way they were attacking Shantae. That's the reason why Shantae said she didn't want to do it anymore, because it was always a setup. You never knew what you were walking into. And I'm going to post some clips on WIRF.TV YouTube channel. I have some clips that I'm going to post from both R&B Divas LA and R&B Divas Atlanta. But it's a shame. Nobody wants to come to work and get beat up every day. Who wants to come to work and get attacked every day? And even though you guys think, well, not you guys, some people think that I was just queen, mother, agitator. It's bullshit. It's a lie. And whoever told you that is a liar. And you can tell them that I said it. And if they have an issue, they can call me or text me or DM me. And I'll reaffirm and reconfirm that, yes, I said, if you said that I was starting shit on anybody's show, you're a liar. Because that was never the case. But the way things were manipulated, you would believe that was what was happening. Same thing with, man, please. Nobody had a good experience on that show, not just me. They were trying to turn your show into Real Housewives of Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop. Yep, 100%. But they was cool beforehand. Yep, absolutely. It's exhausting and childish. There is power in unity. That's all I'm trying to say. You guys, we have to. First of all, who's gonna buy our albums and our products and our support our businesses? If not us. And the thing is, this is what I'm trying to get people to really lean into. Your community has to be in a healthy place. The people that come to your concerts, take their kids to your daycare centers, come to your car washes, come get you go get your hair done by, those people all have to be thriving and doing well to, show up for you as a supporter at a concert, as a person who does your hair. It all works together within our community, but we've been sold this lie, that we don't get along. Well, the truth is many of us don't get along. That's some real shit. But a lot of times that don't even really have anything to do with the person that you got beef with. It really is something that person is triggering within you. That is something that you've been carrying since childhood. And because we can't differentiate between something that we have to own as individuals and something that a person may be doing to trigger some unresolved issues that we have, we want to call it beef. We want to call it, I don't like her. That's just like the lamest shit ever. Like, anyway. And in the case of reality television and in music and in a lot of other entertainment places, you have master manipulators who are taking advantage of those traumas and those triggers and setting you up so that you're just triggered over and over and over again. And it's foul because we don't, after all these years, we still don't see it. We know reality TV ain't shit. We know hip hop ain't shit. We know the entertainment industry as a whole ain't really shit. If you really think about it. Right? It's just nobody's happy. Nobody had a good experience. Nobody is walking away from the entertainment industry or the reality TV business feeling like, honey, I did that and life is great. Maybe Candy. Shit, because Candy, one of the few people that, a few people out there that may, really be winning from the back. But even in those instances, I'm sure Candy got some things where she's just like, I really hate that moment and I hate that moment ever happened. But again, we're always going to have people who are exceptions to the rule. But as a general rule, reality television, the music industry, the entertainment industry as a whole has damaged so many people. And it's terrible because people don't get into this business for it to be so dark. People get into this industry because we are born with a gift, the ability to either make people laugh, the ability to move people with our voices, the ability to write stories and create stories that are compelling, that make people want more. And artists and creatives are super sensitive. As much as people who are in front of the camera seem to be super confident and, have a ton of self-esteem, some of the most sensitive, insecure people in the world are your best creatives and your artists, right? And unfortunately, there are people in this industry who have leveraged those people's insecurities and their trauma to make a shitload of fucking money, and nobody puts it back into the community. So now we don't really ain't nobody running around trying to get a series regular role on nobody's TV show like that. If there are, Tyler Perry's still doing shows where you could become a series regular and a few other places. But my point is just back in the day, what you aspire to become in the entertainment industry is not the same as what's happening today, which is why BET is like, we're not doing the Soul Train Awards. Yeah, Soul Train Award is a cultural staple. And of course you're like, well, Soul Train Awards, come on now, what you talking about? But if nobody's tuning in, nobody's supporting R&B music, nobody's amplifying R&B artists, then what is the point of paying dollars to put up a linear show that nobody's going to watch? Hip hop. Who are you watching perform at the BET Hip Hop Awards this year? Like, seriously? I don't really listen to hip hop like that, but like, is Diddy going to perform? Is Jay-Z coming to perform? Is who is like and all the kids that are successful enough to bring the ratings and the numbers are like, I don't need this shit. I'm going to do my thing over here. So you have to adapt. And it's sad because country music will never suffer that demise, because country music fans and supporters are loyal, and the quality of life for their artist and for their craft is preserved because they're just not treated like shit the way Black artists and creatives are, right? We have so many amazing contributions to the music industry, to into film, television, and so many of us have absolutely nothing to show for it because they only let a handful of them through the gate to have any kind of generational impact, right? So we have to shift our focus. We have to pivot. We have to figure out. Now you got a bunch of 50 somethings who are trying to figure this shit out, because the industry that we were brought up in, the industry that we thought was going to always be here, the industry that we thought would sustain us into our golden years is on fire. Sorry, I'm gonna stop cussing. It's just, I'm really passionate about this, so sometimes it comes out. Industry's on fire. The quality of entertainment is horrible. And people who are really talented don't have an audience because everybody's distracted by the bullshit of Honey Iced Tea. And people's attention spans have been conditioned to be 60 seconds long. And it's not special anymore because you can just open up your phone and hear the most incredible angelic voices ever and the best songs ever. And you can watch, comedians doing skits that entertain you on TikTok more than like a sitcom. The world has changed. The way we consume entertainment has changed. And you got a bunch of people who have been conditioned to a certain thing, which is why people are so, oh, she got an Oscar. Oh, she got a such and such award. What does that mean today? Except for the value that we put on it based on what it meant yesterday. Because it don't mean the same thing. And now that we know what this industry has been built upon for years and years and years, and how many people we about to find out really ain't shit and wasn't shit and ain't never been shit, it's just, what's the point of being too geeked up about being acknowledged by people who don't deserve it? Yes, angry Black women fighting is exhausting to watch. Everybody's exhausted from it. People are ready for something different. Let's see. Yes, you guys, make sure you try Regina's wine. It is called Me and You, MIANU, after her son Ian. I saw Brooklyn and Harlem, everybody partying and getting along. No, I saw in Brooklyn people. Okay, so listen. When I say people don't party and don't get along, I don't mean everybody in the whole wide world that's Black or that's a woman is fighting at this moment. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is that the narratives and the images that we see day in and day out on social media, in the blogs, on YouTube, it's all about destruction, right? It's all about outing somebody. It's all about somebody fighting. Reality TV is all about who don't like who, and relationships falling apart and marriages falling apart. So if you have millions of people consuming toxic behavior from even a tiny small group of people, right? I'm not saying the housewives represent the people in Harlem or Detroit for that matter, or Chicago. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that when you have what most people view as a representation of who we are as a people who don't live in our communities, right? People who don't even live in this country get their idea about what it means to be Black in America from the media. That's the reason why they say the media is such a powerful tool. That's the reason why your presidents and your politicians and, everybody needs the media and they need to run a narrative, because what is said and done in the media actually fucking matters. I know it doesn't represent everything that you see in your communities every day, which is the whole point of this conversation. How many times have you been in a restaurant and watched somebody flip a table? I've never been in a restaurant and seen somebody flip a table or throw a bottle of wine. I just haven't. Now, I done heard niggas shooting in New York, but that's a whole other conversation. But my point is just when an image or a narrative is distributed throughout the world in perpetuity, meaning if you look at Roku, you looking at old episodes of Housewives, old episodes of Love and Hip Hop, old episodes of all of these, and people are saying, wow, that is how black people act. That is how black people dress. That is what black, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not delusional. I know that there are people who get along and who are unified and who work together. But I'm saying when you have a platform and you reach millions of people through music, through television, through film, through the media, and there is no unity shown or displayed, then it gives people the idea that we are a certain way as a collective, right? So I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying all black women don't get along and hate each other. What I'm saying is, as a general rule, and listen, if we keeping it all the way real, in our own families, girl, you heard, girl, I heard, and by the time the story get around, we do it in our own families. We just there is something about untreated, unresolved trauma that makes us do shit to people that we shouldn't do and say things about people that we should not say. Not everybody, but I'm not gonna. Well, I don't do that, but I see people who do. No, there are a lot of folks going through the same shit, which is unresolved trauma. Call it post-traumatic slave disorder. Call it, we all got excused, people tired, whatever it is. If we and when we, and the example of coming together and unifying, as I stated earlier, is when you look at Wakanda, when you look at Sinners, when you look at a Tyler Perry project, when you look at the success that we're able to have when we promote collectively things within our community. If we could lean into doing that more often and understanding that ownership is the only way and leave the money on the table, even if they're off, it takes somebody who's like, yeah, I know you offering me twice as much as you offering her, but at the end of the day, you're not going to have either one of us unless you pay us both equal, right? It's easy. Well, it may not be easy, depending on what your financial situation is. It's risky. But imagine if the answer to that question is, yes, I will. And if we all took that position, right? And I've heard women talk about it before. I've heard women in ensembles. It's a term in the industry called most favored nations. And I've heard many people think that they're in a situation where they're going to do most favored nations, which means everybody gets paid the same amount. And then somebody agrees, to break that rule, and it just messes it up for everybody. If we collectively decide on one accord that we're going to stop allowing this to happen, and we're going to stand together and support each other and demand better for each other, then we can get to that place of generational wellness first, leading to generational wealth. But until we have enough people in our community willing to leave some money on the table, to lay on the sword, and to take one or two for the team, to prove that we have to teach people how to treat us. When we're able to get to that, we win. Promise you. Sounds crazy. Question: have you thought about reaching out to up and coming authors and turning their books into indie movies or TV shows? Absolutely. If you go to wirfmedia.com, we have a whole page dedicated to wanting to work with up and coming writers and producers and creators. Because I have a petition of Saoirse Ronan in the United States Supreme Court, and I went through the most devastating loss of my life. Second most devastating loss of my life. Matter of fact, let me just say one of the most devastating losses of my life. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to really promote that, but yes, that's the short answer to your question. One of the reasons why country music continues to thrive is because they gatekeep their shit. Yep, they believe in it. I don't know what that comment was supposed to be about. Okay, let's see. They're doing trauma. That's what sells. Exactly. But didn't she argue with Selena? Listen, it's crazy to me. People, I said this today. Every time I come on live, this R&B divas or me and Celine, for the benefit of the person who made this comment and anybody else who may be wondering, I do not have one single problem with any woman involved in R&B divas. I do not have one single problem with any woman involved in R&B divas. If any woman in R&B divas has a problem with me, that is not my business. I love everybody. I wish everybody the best, and I'm open and willing and excited and ready to rebuild and create some amazing things next level with anybody attached to the R&B Divas franchise, except for any producer who had ill, nefarious intentions, period. The ladies on the show, I don't have beef with nobody. If somebody got beef with me, I don't know about it. And honestly, I don't want to know about it unless we're going to sit down and have a face-to-face conversation on Diarrhea Diva, talk about it, come up with a solution for it, and keep it moving. But yeah, all that stuff from 12 and 13 years ago, that R&B Diva shit, I tell the truth about it because that is a historic fact of the franchise. But holding on to the anger and the hostility of it is just not something I'm doing. But talking it through, healing our way through it, like me and Mo were able to do, like Latavia was able to do. And shout out to Latavia for being transparent and being honest. And for those of you who can't handle the truth, in my Jack Nicholson voice, get somewhere and sit down. You cannot tell somebody how they're supposed to feel about something. You can't say, well, you was on the show about singers, but I created the show about singers and I didn't want to sing on that motherfucker. Okay? Period. Because the show was not to just sing. Okay, as the creator of the show, it wasn't to just sing. It was a platform for people to get to know us outside of who we were as singers. Sherlocks. The singing was the icing on the cake. The singing was the cherry on the top. But the concept of the show, for those of you who was there when I thought about it in my brain and put it together and did all that shit, was so that people could get to know us as women who are working to rebuild our careers and launch new businesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like I told Big Jim, I want to be taken seriously as a businesswoman. So for everybody who is in the comments, and I started to turn the comments off because y'all get a little nasty about it, but I like blocking people these days because it feels kind of like I'm doing that, right? So make your nasty comments so I can block you. But the point of the show was so that people would have an opportunity to see us outside of music. And music was just a plus, the cherry on top. Cruel and hypocritical irony. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Getting into some of these comments. You guys, please make sure you guys hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Kelly Price is long overdue for a tribute on the awards. I agree. We need Kelly Price tribute. We need a Selena Johnson tribute. And lastly, we need a NWA tribute to happen on the BET Awards. Okay, now. You can't make a withdrawal without making any deposits. We have to learn that it's okay to be of service. In time, the spotlight will be on you. By then, hopefully you'll be able to handle it. Amen. That's a great point. Hey, Lionheart, I see you. Yeah, that's a great point. You're not always going to be in the middle of the spotlight, but you know, as long as, and I'm somebody who loves to see other people. I love to see other people succeed. I don't want to see anybody fail. I don't want to see anybody hurt. Now, because I will tell you exactly how I feel about you in a situation, sometimes people misconstrue that for me not really giving a F. But I care about people. I want to see people thrive. And that's the reason why I create platforms for people to be able to share their authentic, real, honest stories, right? So when you see people sharing their stories and you see people sharing their vulnerability, don't talk shit about them. These women, you know, like I've been posting episodes of From the Bottom Up, and you see Sarah Stokes and her ex-husband, because that is her ex-husband. She is now happily married to somebody else. He is in a relationship. The family has moved on. But during that season of their lives, it was a really tough time. And the reality, the truth of the fact of the matter is a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people can relate to conversations that you maybe shouldn't be having in front of the kids, but you forget the kids are there, or the passion is so intense that you don't really take that into consideration. That's the real shit that actually happens, right? Sometimes parents cuss in front of kids. Sometimes parents have arguments in front of the children. It is not healthy. It is not good. And it is not okay. but that is a reality of what happens. So when people just go in and they say vile, terrible, you having an opinion about they shouldn't have had this conversation this way or whatever is one thing. But when you start throwing insults at people and you start saying nasty, negative shit, that is your trauma. That ain't got nothing to do with them. The ugly, nasty shit that you post on social media under people's comments, that's your illness. That's your sickness. That's your trauma. That's your triggers going off, right? When you get that nasty with somebody and that disrespectful with somebody, that is your sickness within yourself. That's your issue that you're dealing with, because everything can be said in a respectful way. I don't give what it is. Everything can be said in a respectful way, in a considerate, kind way, in a way that doesn't destroy a person's feelings and make people feel bad about sharing their truths, right? When a person is telling you about their experience and telling you about their truth, it's not for you to judge, especially if you weren't there. If you weren't there, fuck up. Stick something in your mouth if you can't do it. Just put a sock in it. Put your fist in it. Whatever you need to do to when someone is telling their truth and sharing their heart, don't be mean. Allow these people to speak their truth. Nicci, how's the song with your nephew doing? I really like it. I'm not giving up. I got a lot that's on my mind, but I gotta shine. Can't waste no time. God Made Jake featuring Brownstone, baby. It's doing great. The streams are doing great. You guys, please make sure you go to all platforms and stream I'm Not Giving Up remix with God Made Jake. I'm so proud of my nephew, and I can't wait to our next show. My favorite song by her is If You Love Me. I'm still listening to that song day in and day out. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I guess I'm going into an hour and 21 minutes. I want to thank everybody. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. I want to thank everyone who took the time out to hit subscribe. Mind is blown. Our YouTube channel gained almost 1,000 subscribers over the last 7 to 10 days. I want to say it's crazy. We have working on, I think, 400,000 views. Is crazy. So, and people are going back watching old content, going back into the vaults, honey. So I'm really grateful to each and every one of you. What we are building at WRF TV is a TV platform on YouTube. So right now you see a lot of Nicci Gilbert content, a lot of content that I created. That's another reason why ownership is so important, you guys. The reason I'm such an advocate for it is because it is the only pathway to wellness in our community. Because if you don't own your narrative, you have absolutely nothing to do with how that narrative is pushed out to the public. You have nothing to do with how people in other countries view you or your situation or your family. And the only way you can is if you have control over it. And the only way you have control over it is if you have ownership or partnership in it. So being on a TV show and being famous is cool, but fame is a vapor, guys. Money has wings. The only thing that lasts is character. So thank y'all for hanging out with me. Instagram, please go over to WIRF.TV YouTube mother flipping channel and hit the subscribe button. YouTube, I love and appreciate you guys so much. Congratulations. I'm definitely glad to say just joined. I'm intrigued. Hopefully, I would love to work with you someday. Hey, Denoris, love you back. Listen, you guys, it's great content, so just go and check it out. It's like really great. And here's the thing. Once we get to 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to release the entire first season of From the Bottom Up series, right? So once we get to 20,000 viewers, I'm going to release the entire first season. And then this fall in September, hopefully we'll be close to 25 or 30. I'm going to release season 2 and season 3 of From the Bottom Up. The show is amazing. It was produced by Flavor Unit, which is Queen Latifah's company, and Shakim. The first season was in 2016, and what's crazy is that these stories still resonate with people. So when you see Sarah going through something, or when you see Maya, who was a special guest personality or special guest appearance on the show in season 2. When you see these women going through this moment, please know they are not going through it now. They definitely have gone from the bottom up. But the reason these stories are so important is because there are people who may be now where they were then. And this is something that they can look to and say, hey, listen, I remember when Sarah was in this situation with domestic violence and this and that and the third, and now look at where she is. And they can actually see it. So often you see people after they are shining, after they're successful. This is a great opportunity for you to see them climbing. And I said this earlier in a previous live. From the Bottom Up was created at a time when I was at a really low place. I had just basically gone through the litigation with R&B Divas, and I also lost Maxie a year prior to the show being picked up. It was also a show that I was pitching around the time I was pitching Lionsgate, the ownership thing. And thankfully, like I've said a million times, I'm so grateful to Shakim and Queen Latifah for partnering with me through their deal. You can't buy the season. You can watch it, though. You can watch From the Bottom Up, season 1 on WRF-TV YouTube channel, the very channel that you're on now. And I'm going to put the whole season up once we hit 20,000 subscribers. We're close to 20,000 subscribers. And once we hit it, I'm going to put the entire season 1 up for you guys to enjoy it. This was a great conversation. Thank you guys. Congratulations. Well deserved. God's plan. I want R&B Divas new season. Okay, let me tell y'all what the real plan is. This is the reason why y'all really, I'm gonna get my long-winded ass off of this thing. The reason you guys really have to blow up the WIRF.TV YouTube channel is because I believe that we can do R&B Divas on our YouTube channel. I believe that we can partner with other YouTube channels that have huge followings, and we can license the series to them, and we can get the series out to the people. I believe that this is a new world. In the same way that BET is not doing linear shows for the Soul Train Awards and the Hip Hop Awards, and they're looking for other outlets, i.e. streaming, probably YouTube. We can do the same thing with R&B Divas. We just got to get these numbers up, right? Because it's got to make financial sense to produce a whole season and put it out there. But I'm going to leave y'all with this question before I get up out of here. If we could put together a brand new season of R&B Divas and make it available for all the world to see on WIRF.TV YouTube channel and other YouTube channels that have huge followings, would you guys tune in? Would you tune in? Would you tune in to a new season of R&B Divas, or has that ship sailed? Now, we may not have all the original divas. I'm extending invitations to everybody. But would you tune in if we just decided girl power, UNITY, and to just do this mother freaker by ourselves together? I think that this would be huge, and I think it's very doable. You can't watch the old episodes of R&B Divas right now because we're working through some logistics, but you should be able to do it soon. When you and Monifa did your sit down on YouTube, it was epic. Thank you. I want to do sit downs with all of the divas, and not just the divas from the show. I want to do R&B divas. I want to do comedy divas. I want to do reality TV divas. Diary of a Diva is about talking to any woman who has excelled in her industry and has something to say about it. And the thing that I love about the kind of TV that I produce, everybody says 100% will tune in. Everybody says absolutely. Yay. So subscribe, y'all. Let's blow this channel up so we can put what we want to see on it. Not what I want to see. I want to put what y'all want. There's no benefit to me putting what I want to see on the YouTube channel. I want to put what y'all want to see on the channel. So please watch, subscribe, share. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. We are growing this little teeny, itty bitty. Well, ain't nothing teeny, itty bitty about it. Hold on. Big stepping. We're growing this channel into something amazing, and I have each and every one of you to thank for that. Thank y'all for supporting me, and please pray for us with these renovations, because oh my God, these repairs and this, oh Lord. And I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna do we've been filming it, so I'm gonna put that here as well. Okay, thank you guys. God's plan. 100% people will watch it. Let's do R&B Divas. The people said it. They want R&B Divas. Let's figure this shit out. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching Nights with Nicci. I am your host, Nicci Gilbert Daniels. My big giant. Come on, Kato. Let me play my music so I can get these people. Hold on. Let me turn the music on. Hey, I love you. Say goodnight. Hey, say goodnight. Good night, everybody. I'm your host, Nicci Gilbert Daniels. Y'all have a beautiful evening, and I will see y'all tomorrow on Nights with Nicci. Yay!